This is question 3 from the 2019 winter set of exams by Cambridge International, and it's paper 1-2. You can find a link to the image of the question in the description below. As you can see, it's a calculus question where they're asking us to draw a curve after giving us the derivative. So here's the information they've given us. They told us the derivative of this curve of y is dy dx is equal to k divided by the square root of x, and they also tell us these 2 points are on the curve and they want us to draw it. So really how we do this is we need to integrate. They gave us the derivative, we need to integrate it back into the curve. So well, the first thing I would do though is I'd rewrite this. I don't quite like this form. I'd rewrite it as x to the k multiplied by x to the power of minus a half. So you need to get used to being able to move things around like this. When they come up, when they move across the denominator, the power changes by a minus. And the square root is just the same as writing a half. In fact, I wouldn't mind if we stopped writing square root and just wrote a half from now on. Okay, so this is just another way to write this, but it's a much more convenient way. Because now we're more used to doing our integration in this method, in this normal polynomial method. So y is equal from the integration formula, the constant gets left alone, x gets left alone, and we add 1 to its power. So minus a half plus 1 is a half, and then we divide by the power, divide by a half. And of course we also add a constant. You got to remember that constant. That constant is very important, especially in this question. But in all questions, when we integrate, you have to remember that constant. Okay, so this is the curve they're looking for. It's just that it's missing a bit of information. K is missing and C is missing. Actually, let me just write this again. Divide by a half is the same as multiply by 2. And plus C. Oh, I could have wrote that as the square root. You can leave it this way. Either is perfectly okay. So yeah, it's just missing the K information and the C information. Now we should be used to getting the C. We do that in most questions. To get the C, we need a piece of information, and they've given us 2 of them, which is good because we're missing 2 bits of information. So they gave us 2 points. We'll find 2 bits of information. So let's just put these in, because remember, this is just x and y. The x point and the y point on this curve. These are on this curve. That means this y, when this y equals minus 1, doesn't always equal minus 1, but when it equals minus 1, 2 is still 2, k is still k, but x is now 1. When y is minus 1, x is 1. That's what this point tells us. Plus c. C is still c. And another, well, let me clean this one up first. What do we get? We get 1 to the power of a half is 1. 1 times 2. So we get 2k plus c is equal minus 1. I'll just write it this way because it'll look a little better later on. But you can leave the minus 1 this side. I'm just going to write it this side, more standard. So let's put in this point here, because it's still not enough information. I still need to find k and c. 2 pieces of information, 2 unknowns, one equation. So it's still not enough. So let's use this line here again, and y is now 4. When y is 4, well, 2 is still 2, k is still k, but x is now 4. Again, that's what this point here tells us. When y is 4, x is 4. Plus is still plus, and c is still c. Okay, let's clean this up. 4 to the power of a half is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So we get 4k plus c, and let's move, let's just write this the other side. So sorry, I'm not changing this sign. I didn't change this sign, did I? Good. Okay, so again, two unknowns, 1 equation. This is a simultaneous equation. Let's write them underneath each other. So they're much more as we're used to. Simultaneous equation. We can now solve k and c. So how do we do that? Let's take the bottom line away from the top line. So 4k minus 2k is 2k. C minus c is 0. 4 minus 1 is 4 plus 1, so that's 5. So k is equal 5 over 2. Let's find c. Let's use this line here. For k is now 5 over 2. So 5 over 2 plus c is equal 4. Let's 2 divided into 4 2 times. 2 5s are 10. So c is equal 4 minus 10. 4 minus 10, that's minus 6. So there's our two numbers. We're not quite finished. Some students leave that as your answer. The examiner, how many marks is this question? 4 marks. The examiner will probably give you 3.5, maybe 3 marks. I don't fully remember how the CIE system works. But they will give you most of the marks for this question. That's all the hard work. But you forgot to give them the answer they asked for. They asked you to find the curve. Here's the curve here. Here's the answer here. This is the more answer than these guys. And this is a curve. So let's just write it again. Y is equal to, instead of k, we write 5 over 2. And x to the power of a half plus c. Instead of c, we write minus 6. Let's clean this up. We get y is equal, 2's cancel, we get 5. And let me just write that as the square root of x. You don't have to. You can leave it as x to the power of a half. So plus minus 6. Here's our final answer. That's for full marks. That is the curve. Y is equal to 5 multiplied by the square root of x minus 6. That is the curve they asked us for. Okay, if you have any questions about any of that, please leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. And until next time, have a good day.